Right, Misfits 013 next weekend, next Saturday in Nashville, Tennessee. Before we get into the video, by the way, the link to tickets, if you're watching from America or if you want to take the flight over, the link to the tickets is in the description to this video. Looking forward to it, mate?
I can't fucking wait, mate. I'm going to be watching from afar. I won't be able to be there, unfortunately, because of where it is. But
staying up or waking up?
Mate, I'll be there. I'll be there in spirit, but I'll be awake and I'll be sitting there with a cup of tea, probably, maybe a whiskey, jumping up and down. I've got all the faith in you, mate. I'm convinced that I think this is, touch wood, I think this is going to be like the performance where people were impressed last time. I think they're going to be really impressed this time. I think you'll raise a shot.
I think that's the good thing of like upping the level of opposition as well. Obviously, the people that are watching, like, I've got absolutely no doubt there's a very, very small percentage of guys that have watched me on Misfits so far in the fight against Most Wanted and maybe understand where I'm at, what sort of caliber of fighter I am. But I would say 99% of people have no idea. Like, they have no idea where I'm at. And I don't blame them for that, you know, because ultimately, when there is a gulf in experience and ability between two guys, how much can you really learn about the guy who's looking good? Because it's like, okay, yeah, I look good. I can do a few flicks and tricks. It's like Jake Paul's
last fight. Like, you know, he got the guy out there quickly. What can you learn? What can you pick up from that? Not a lot. This time, I think that the guy in there is definitely going to be tougher. No disrespect, but the guy is an MMA fighter with a good record. He's just won a fight, a couple of weeks ago.
Literally last weekend.
Yeah. So, he's legit. He's a legit fighter, but I'll just naturally expect you to have the boxing edge.
I think I'll have more than just a boxing edge, to be honest. Listen, talk's cheap. We'll see when we get in there on the night. But I think from the gist I'm getting of things, I don't think Baby Hulk thinks he's going to outbox me. I think Baby Hulk thinks he's going to get in there, rough me up, have a fight with me, and hope that, or bank on the fact that he's got more heart, more grit, more determination than me. And listen, like I've said before, man, in an octagon, yes, this guy fucks me up. I'm not deluded. But in a boxing ring, it's a completely different story, man. One thing I will give a lot of credit for, Baby Hulk, I watched his last fight. Not only is he, in my opinion, from the fights I've seen of him so far, improved with his hands, with his boxing ability, it looks to me like he's making a conscious effort, especially in that last fight.
He was putting his punches together a lot more.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm standing, like, rather than just immediately going for the grappling.
He did lose his 100% finish ratio in that fight, though. That one went to points.
Yeah.
4-ounce gloves against, again, look, I'm not gonna. The thing with MMA is I'll read into it the tiniest bit. I might look at the way that someone's body moves when they're throwing a punch, the way they turn over their shot, something like that. But in terms of the thing that's really important, in terms of like, the feet, the distance, I'm not going to take nothing in from MMA because ultimately I'm going to stand at a completely different range to you in an octagon when you can kick me, when you can take me down than I am if we're just striking here.
Yeah, I think the one thing you can take from MMA fights, like with, from what I understand, when Anthony Joshua's coach, Ben Davison, was looking into Francis Ngannou, there was reactions. So after certain things, he would do certain things. So with a body shot, naturally his hand would... There's little things that you can get, but like you say, it is a different sport. So, and look, you're going to win, mate. Positive of it.
We had a funny moment the other night when we were doing the live stream on the Pain Game. We were talking about Nick Ball against Ray Vargas. And we're sitting there, and obviously Nick Ball, for anyone that watched that, will know. But if you don't, Nick Ball is a guy who probably didn't have all that much expected of him when he turned professional, and he's just gone from strength to strength, proving people wrong at every opportunity. I was actually lucky enough to be at one of his fights when he fought on the Tyson Fury against Dillian White undercard at Wembley, and I was really, really impressed by him. And he's a strong, come-forward fighter. But the most clear and obvious attribute he's got is his height. He's so small and he can get on the inside of these guys. And I was watching it and he was doing a good job at bashing up the bigger man, a big, long, tall boxer for the weight division. And obviously, barring yourself and Leon, I'm surrounded by professional boxers sat there. And they're going to me, yeah, it's just so hard fighting these small guys. All the meanwhile, they're not trying to wind me up or anything. They don't even know probably that I'm fighting Baby Hulk or whatever. And I'm going, Yeah, he is making it hard work for him, isn't he? And he's going, yeah, you know, these punches can just come out of anywhere. And, you know, when you're just thinking, oh, for fuck's
Ironically,
sake.
we were also sat there going, yeah, I mean, fighting these MMA fighters because I'm Francis, you know what I mean? And then when AJ won later on, you were like, oh,
Breathe.
It's like,
Nah, it's good, man. Listen, I'm really, really looking forward to this fight because I do very much think, like, I'm harsh on myself a lot of the time as well, and talk's cheap. Like, it's all well and good going in there, respect to him, but it's all well and good bashing up a Most Wanted in his boxing debut, looking good under the lights and at Leeds and in a big event. But ultimately, like, I'm not here to beat fighters that are fringe around the level that could compete for belts. I'm looking to fight the best, and Baby Hulk, I think, is a lovely step in the first direction. He's someone that's going to come in there with massive belief. He's going to be throwing that overhand right all night long. You know, I don't give a fuck really about giving away the game plan. That's what he's going to have. That's what he's going to bank on. He's going to be throwing it heavy and often. So let's see how many times he connects with it. And let's see, man. I mean, he connected with it a few times in the fight the other night in 4-ounce gloves. I don't think he managed to drop his opponent in that. I can tell you, hands down now, I'm a better boxer than that opponent. I'm going to have a better chin than him. I'm tougher than him. So let's see, man. Let's see how it pans out. And without giving away too much, if you think you're coming in there now and you're seeing some guy that's going to be boxing around the ring on the back foot, in and out with the feet and trying to look for a points decision, you're very, very much mistaken. That's the game plan given away. I don't give a fuck. I'm coming to take Baby Hulk's head off, as he will be me. So let's see
that's why I like this fight for you. Because he is vicious, and we need that. We like, ironically, I think that I said that about AJ. I think AJ had the perfect amount of fear for Ngannou, which brought the razor sharp. And that's what I'm thinking about you is this will bring out the razor sharp Joey. Not just that, the last fight, you had some cobwebs to knock off. You hadn't fought properly, you know, in a good few years. You hadn't fought under the Misfits lights, which are significantly greater than what you'd been used to. And just getting used to all these people and everyone around. Now you're going to be, even though you're in a different country, which is a bit of you're at home a bit more. And then that's the recipe for a good performance, in my opinion.
Yeah. Having gone through the experience as well, like I said to you, like I had to lean on you a bit in the days after that fight because it was like, mate, I'm on a real come down here. Like I've had a few after my fights.
Your man went viral, didn't you?
No, yeah, it's a weird feeling. Yeah. Like after my fights, previous in the past, yeah, you have a day of couple of text messages to get through, people congratulating you, things like that. You come off your diet, that never helps like your sort of inner well-being when all of a sudden you go from eating strict to just fucking eating everything. Boozing, yeah. So after this one, it was that times a million. And it was like, fucking hell. Whereas now I feel like I've learned a lot from that experience, you know what I mean?
You know, next time, all right, you have your moment, you say thanks everyone. Everyone will also be a bit less shocked if it does go as well as what we're hoping. And then you've also got that routine to get back into, so you're not going to feel like, oh fuck, I'm in this washing machine here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was gonna say to you, I logged on to or clicked on to Fox the G's live stream the other night. He was live on Instagram, and as soon as I've gone in there, everyone in the chat started going, "Oh, Joey's in here." So he's gone, yeah, he went, Joey, I'm to be honest, I'm pissed off with you, man. And I was thinking, fucking, what have I done to upset him? Like, whatever. And he went, you know, the way you've gone on about this is just awful. And I'm thinking, hold on, what the fuck is going on here? He went, our son, Most Wanted. He went, you've given me full custody. He said, you're not paying him visits, you're not looking after him, you've got me looking after him in Nashville. How do you see that one going in the main event? Like, do you think, are everyone being short-sighted to write Most an evil hero off? Because I'll be honest, I've laid my cards on the table. I think Fox is a big favourite in that one. Yeah,
it's weird because it's 2v1, but the reality is we have 2v1 sparring sessions all the time, right? You do a round with a guy, all the time. Fresh guy jumps in. It's not as mental as it sounds. Now, obviously, it wouldn't work if the skill gap was, smaller and that these two lads were on the same level as Fox. Then it would be like, well, fuck me, what we're doing here. But the reality is Fox went in there and put on a fantastic performance, and Most Wanted, while was spirited and wasn't, I don't think he was anything to be ashamed of, he just doesn't look like he's there. And I think with Evil Hero, a similar level. So yeah, I think he should win. The only hope for the other two lads is that they've been able to make gains since that last fight, which when you're just starting to learn it might be possible, but I don't know. Like I think that this is a lambs to slaughter potentially if Fox, because Fox is now getting that fucking the momentum, you know what I mean? And that knockout will only have made him want to train harder, work harder. The potential to grow is even bigger. And all of a sudden, he's going to become a big star potentially. You know, by Misfit standards especially, I think he made a hell of an impression. So
I mean, mate, headlining card in your second fight. I don't know many outside of, you know, the big influencers, KSIs of the world and that have done that.
I think he's lucky that Misfits care about him. I hope and look, I'm sure, apparently not everyone understands that, you know, that you should be grateful for that.
I'm not following.
But I think Misfits are doing him a massive favour by making him a main event, because, in my opinion, there was other options. I know this fight is not there anymore, but Gabe Silva versus Anthony Taylor could have potentially been a main event. That was for a title until Gabe Silva weirdly bottled it. And
oh, do you know what's weird? Do you remember when we see the pull out of that? I said to you, didn't I? I went, oh, they should try and get the lad from your neck of the woods, Aaron. Aaron in. Have you seen now he's fighting Anthony Taylor's little brother? Yeah. Fucking hell, that's bad. On another show, right? Yeah.
So look, I think they're doing Fox a favour by putting him as the main event, but I think also he's slightly benefiting from that card not being as stacked as some other cards are. So hopefully he seizes the moment.
I think that we'll see a much better version of Most Wanted in this fight, because I think that, like, you know, just in life in general, the best thing to help your progression is facing your fears. And ultimately, all right, I didn't knock Most Wanted clean out or anything, but he had a performance in which it didn't go the way he felt it was going to win. Let's have it right, he clearly believed that. I was speaking to Fred the other day, and when he came to interview me, Fred said that Most Wanted went out for dinner with Fred, you know, Elbrook, Mark Tibbs, renowned boxing trainer, and all them lot. And he said at the dinner table, he said,
was it the night before?
Yeah. He said, listen, I'm going to knock Joey Spark out. So if you're saying that, and you're saying it in good company, pro boxers, John Hedges and, you know, Mark Tibbs, you definitely believe it. So I think that it would have been a bit of a reality check, like what happened on the night, but I very, very much think that will make him better next time. He'll probably have less, when the worst's happened to you, the worst sort of happens.
It's like failing your driving test. You're going to drive better the next time once the scary bit's over with, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, that was worst case scenario, pretty much. Let's get up and actually understand what I need to do. Like, he wasn't fit enough. He wasn't ready. And now he knows where the level is.
And if he doesn't shock the world in this one, just to pay a bit of credit to Most Wanted, because for someone that hasn't had boxing experience to come and take two really, really tough fights, commendable, and big respect to him.
The balls on him aren't up for this debate, to be fair to him. Like,
if he doesn't shock the world in this one, my advice, make sure you're training, because I know that in the build up to our fight, you definitely weren't doing as much as I feel like you should have been doing to be prepared for that. Make sure you're training, and then maybe look at getting matched up potentially even against your tag team partner in this match. Maybe Most Wanted against a small Spartan J, who obviously I think will come back and put in.
Yeah, he's just signed a new deal, so good luck to him as well.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing him too. Elsewhere on the card, we got Yodi going against Cray Cray. I'm really looking forward to that one. Really, really excited to that one.
I think we're going to learn a lot.
I think we will, yeah.
There's a lot being said about these two. Like, Cray Cray is viewed as this, like, really up-and-coming boxer in the YouTube world. And when I watch him, he's flashy, he's exciting to watch. I've not seen him in there with anyone who's particularly great, but he's looked good himself. And then Yodi Gang, he is technically sound, good defensively, but not the most offensively entertaining fighter. He's a bit too safety first, especially for what is entertainment boxing, right? We're not pro boxing, we're boxing entertainment here. So I'm hoping that one of them can actually stick it on the other one and show where the level is, because if it's just a Yodi Gang decision where he's just in defense mode the whole time, not only would that be boring, it would also send a bad sign for what this is about. You know what I mean? And I've seen that, and I just hope that they both go out and actually we get a definitive winner.
I think stylistically, from what I've watched, there's a lot more certainty with what we're going to get from Cray Cray. Cray Cray's a really good fighter, exciting style. I've watched a fair bit of him now. I rate him. I think I've made no secret of it before. If I take myself out of this, Yodi Gang's the favourite in this tournament for me. So I think Cray Cray's going to be up against it. And from what I've seen, I could be completely wrong here. He could have had random amateur fights where he's fought at a higher level than this. But I actually watched Cray Cray's Golden Gloves final. And you could be, forgiven for thinking that's going to be probably the toughest level we've seen him box at.
How was it?
The guy wasn't as good as Yodi Gang, no.
How was the fight?
Cray Cray done well, yeah. Cray Cray won the fight on points.
Do you
done
think
well.
The problem with Yodi Gang is he's got a good reach. He's tall, lanky guy for the weight class, right? So it's closing the distance, isn't it? So do you think he's going to close the distance on him?
I could be wrong on this, right? And I could very much be wrong. And the beauty is we'll find out next week. I don't see the risk for Cray Cray in this fight of being, Yodi Gang fulfilling his promises that he's now said that, I'm going to knock every man in the tournament out. I'm only getting stoppages now. What you basing that on, mate? You ain't had none so far. So, but that's not the risk I see for Cray Cray. The risk I see for Cray Cray in this fight is Yodi Gang being able to make it a very frustrating night for him. And Cray Cray probably getting out of the ring annoyed, thinking, I could have fucking done more. I could have, and Yodi Gang.
It's frustrating to watch, though. That's the problem. Like, the last thing I want to see, and from any fighter, this isn't a personal dig at anyone. Like, I think Yodi has the ability to do that to people, and I accept that. But if you want to do that, go to pro boxing. Do you know what I mean? This is entertainment. If you don't want to entertain, you're in the wrong place, really. I've had my frustrations with Anthony Taylor before, who I think is very entertaining outside of the ring, but previously inside the ring, when he fought Sol Pappy, for example, Hugfest, all of that. I'm always going to call out anyone who's boring in the ring, even if you did it, bro. I don't care, because I know what Misfits fans want, and it's important that we hold that to the standard, and everyone has to go in there. Not like be an idiot, but you have to be somewhat aggressive. Do you know what I mean? You have to show something, and I hope he does actually live up to the words, because then everyone will potentially say where his true ability is, because I rate Yodi Gang. I just don't want to see you super defensive fighting.
Do you know what sort of says it all for me, right? Listen, it all depends on how the fight goes. But say Cray Cray's victorious, I don't think that many people are going to be saying about Yodi, I'd love to see him in with X, Y, and Z. Just because of the style. It could all change. I'm very aware of that. And before people think I'm going in on Yodi, how many fucking times have I said he's the favourite for this tournament? So it's not it's not a thing of me digging out his style. But what I would say is, even if Cray Cray wasn't to win this fight, straight away you'll start seeing these fan posters. You'll start seeing people wanting to see Cray Cray in there with other fighters.
He's excited
He's got
to
a good
watch.
style.
Yeah.
He's got a really good style. The tournament is obviously, as things stand, about, what are we on? 1:45 on a Thursday. As things stand, it's for the interim title. But we do need to address the elephant in the room here. Listen, there's been a lot of back and forths. For anyone that doesn't know, if you've been living under a rock, Dean the Great is the champion. This fight is for the interim title. The interim winner of the tournament will have the title, and therefore in their next fight should fight Dean the Great. All things going well. The schedule looks good. It could even be this year. But it looks like, after, telling everyone that he's injured, and I know that he's had surgery and whatnot, Dean was looking to take other fights. He obviously accepted a fight on, is it Adin Ross's stream?
Well, there was a couple of things. So first off, he was under contract with Misfits. He goes and meets up with MVP, the Jake Paul crew, which obviously, if you're a Misfits guy and Mams Taylor, etc., you're probably wondering, what the fuck's going on here? Like, you're our fighter, and it's one thing to just go to a fight or whatever, and maybe that's all he was doing. I don't know. I can't remember. But there was a rumor that he was asking for, a fight deal. I think Mams mentioned something about that on that Twitter Spaces. And then also, he's then not part of the kick streaming platform, which Adin Ross is obviously part owner of, or something along those lines. Adin Ross is putting on his own boxing shows. He said he was going to fight Adam Salah.
Yeah.
And then there was a bit of a moving of the goalposts, because they were promoting it like a fight. Then it was, Misfits obviously raised the alarm. What the fuck's going on here? Oh, it's just a spar. No money is changing hands. And, you know, like Adin Ross is known for paying people a lot of money to jump out of windows and bullshit like that. So why wouldn't he pay someone to go and box? So wasn't sure if I believed all of that. But regardless, the way it's gone down like a fucking lead balloon. I listened to the Twitter spaces with Mams and Dean, and it's just sad when I know firsthand how much Mams originally believed in Dean. When we'd have conversations privately, Mams would speak about Dean of, I think this kid's got a lot of potential. I want to push him. I want to help him. I want to promote him. And now to see Dean just so quickly before, like Dean's had, what, a handful of fights, you know, not even 5 fights in Misfits. For him already to be sort of making noises and doing things like that when Mams has put a lot of work in to try and help this kid, it's a shame, and I think you'll regret it in the long run, Dean.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, from an outsider looking in, that...
Did you hear the conversation between them?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you make of it?
I think that because I'm obviously fighting in Dean's weight division, I'm in this tournament, I intend on winning this tournament, and therefore, if everything goes to plan the way it's been promised, Dean could potentially be an opponent for me. I think that people might want to take what I say in this situation with a little bit of a pinch of salt, considering I'm looking at Dean from a challenging him opponent perspective. But I just think, like, come on, man, when you're saying Mams is a spar, fuck off. You're talking shit. You know full well that you signed up to it being a fight. You also know full well
you were supposed to be injured.
That you're supposed to be injured, and you're taking on Adam Salah. Why? Adam Salah is food for anyone that's going to realistically want to get paid good money for an opponent that's very much beatable. Adam Salah's beatable, man.
We're having a tournament right now to decide who should fight you because you're injured.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing if you're ready to fight now?
By the way, a tournament that Adam Salah would have been offered the opportunity to go into.
Yeah, he was.
I know full well that Adam Salah would have been offered the opportunity to go into that tournament. So, listen, it is what it is. And obviously, Adam Salah, big respect to him. He's a big name, you know what I mean? He's a good name.
Decent
but
fighter.
it's like a lot of things you see in boxing. Sometimes a guy with a good name won't carry the same sort of risks as someone that hasn't got that name will. And that's completely fine. But if I'm Dean the Great and I'm personally really backing my ability here, there's other ways to go about it, because you could have fought Adam Salah, you know. Like, I personally think that if Dean was to say, look, do you know what? My injury's recovering a little bit better than I think it's going to. I understand that the things are tied up with the tournament. Let me fight Adam Salah on a Misfits card or something like that. It could have happened. There could have been ways to go around it. So communication-wise, it don't look good.
And that's the thing is, at no point did he go to Misfits. He went and did what he wanted. And then when Misfits were like, hold on, what's going on here? And he's like, well, you should have talked to me or whatever. And it, like, I'm not saying Misfits were perfect, because I understand, like, tiny mistakes, things can slip. But he doesn't understand, like, who works for who and who's doing who favors here. And you know what I mean? Like, and I think gratitude is something everyone should have because no one knew who the fuck this kid was before Misfits. No one, Ryan Garcia was not responding to you before Misfits. You weren't getting this attention. Misfits has platformed you. And at the very least, even if you want to go out and do with other things with Jake Paul or Adin Ross or any of them, respect should be given to the people who help you get to the point where you can do those things. And he showed zero respect, zero gratitude.
Mate, in the Twitter back and forth, right, when they were talking to each other, he's saying, Mams, I haven't spoke to you since last year. And I'm thinking, hold on, I boxed in January, you were there. Mams was there. What, you two didn't fucking cross paths? Yeah. Probably paid for your flight over. Like, what the fuck? Like, what are we going on about? The internet, yeah? And I've found this out myself since podcasting. You got to be really careful with what you tell white lies about on the internet, man, because it'll come unstuck, you know what I mean? So, ultimately, for me, look, who am I to say anything? I say this time and time again because I don't want it. I see Dean as a competitor, right? But actually, I've met him in person.
Does he see you as a competitor, though?
Probably not.
No, but the point I'm making is when we first met, when you met Dean that night, and I ain't got nothing against this kid. I'm just looking at him as a dude who's a bit older in this industry going, you're making fucking big mistakes, yeah. And I've made my own mistakes, but these are basic, you know what I mean? And you said he doesn't want to fight me. And in fact, you got the vibe that he doesn't want to have that level of competition. And look, I'm not saying that a lot of fighters don't want easy fights for big money, but like realistically, you've only had a couple of fights. You haven't even made your name yet, and you're already going on like Floyd Mayweather. It screams nightmare. This guy, if you're an outsider looking in, you're another promotion, you should be looking at the way this lad is operating within his current contract and going, nightmare.
Okay, but listen, if you want bigger and better things, yeah, is Adam Salah on an Adin Ross live stream a bigger and better thing than the winner of this tournament?
What, with no crowd? In a fucking warehouse?
MVP.
I don't see the big deal.
MVP, imagine he does go there. Who's the good lightweights on MVP?
Who's on MVP? Other than Madison?
No one fucking knows.
No one. Right, exactly.
No one knows. So at the end of the day,
and Misfits is an actual platform.
And as well, if it was your intention, yeah, if you were done with Misfits and you weren't interested in fighting on there, why were you at the show at Leeds? So to me, there's a possibility that maybe you've gone to that show at Leeds, not just myself, you've seen me looking good, you've seen Fox looking good, then you seem to plan for the tournament and you're thinking, do you know what? I could probably get easier fights for bigger money. And if that is the case, right? One, I think Dean's probably wrong there because whoever wins this tournament is a fucking star going forward, and that can land on a KSI pay-per-view card or something like that. But if that's the case, fair enough. Who don't want big fights for, easier fights for bigger money? But I just don't personally think he's going to find himself in a really good position after this. So if Dean was watching this, mate, you're a very, very good fighter, man. I think you should back your ability. Don't worry about the surgery. You can come back well from it and make sure you get in the ring with whoever wins this tournament.
Do you know what I would say? Just say sorry. Just apologise to Mums. He's a reasonable guy. And come back down from the mountain of ego that you're standing on right now, because do you know who you are to KSI? You're a fucking ant. Like this idea that he's the most wanted fighter. No, you're under contract and you're trying to do things you can't do. It's not like you're this big in demand fighter. Like you actually need to keep winning. You actually need to keep the star going. And if you keep fucking yourself up like this, you're not going to reach anywhere near the level that you could do if you just a company guy.
Yeah.
Even if you decide to part ways with Misfits, be respectful, do the right thing. That's my thing.
Definitely. Final thoughts on this tournament coming up, or at least on the first night of it. Do we have any news yet on when the other quarterfinals will be? Because it's looking like it could potentially be April.
I don't think it'll be too far away because what I'm led to understand is that the first 4 fights, so it's 2 one night, the next 2 will probably not be long after that, and then hopefully they'll build up some momentum because they had to organise the schedules of each guy. That's why people are fighting who they're fighting, is when they could fight, I think.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. Well, it is, by the time this goes out, this coming Saturday. As I say, link for the tickets is in the description below. Follow me on my Instagram, which is also linked in the description below, because I'm thinking about doing a couple of free ticket giveaways. So if you're living in America, if you're anywhere near Tennessee, Nashville, definitely get involved in that. Thank you very much, mate, again, for joining me on another video. See you in the next one.